GSL Code A. We are in our final best of 3. Flash versus Ryung. It's the most highly anticipated match of the night, and I think it's going to be great.
It is Flash's third attempt to get into Code S. 2 times he tried, 2 times he failed. Every single time he was in the up and downs, and then he lost. This time he wants to make sure that he finally arrives in Code S, in the highest league in the GSL, and he's up against a fellow Terran player. They met each other once. It's a long time ago. It was a crazy match on Whirlwind.
Yes, it certainly was. And Ryung was able to take the match.
Yep.
Things are looking really heated going into this Terran versus Terran, man. It's hard to believe we have these two Titans clash against each other. Ryung, one of the best players on Slayers, moved into Axiom. Is living in Korea out here with some other Axiom players and is ready, getting ready, that is, for GSL. We even have Alicia here in the studio with him, a longtime friend and old teammate from Slayers, currently Axiom teammate.
I did not recognize him at first. He doesn't wear the glasses.
He's lost a lot of weight as well, I feel.
Exactly. So I looked at him, I looked at Alicia, and really for like 10 seconds I stared at him and I was like, I know you, but I don't know who you are. And then suddenly it hit me and I'm like, oh my god, it's actually Alicia.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him forever.
Yeah, man. He's been playing Heart of the Storm. He's getting ready for his GSL. Talked to him a little bit about the balance. We'll talk about that more in the GSL match, but now focusing on these two players, Ryung with so much more GSL experience than Flash. He is a long-time Codas player. He's even coming out of Codas right now, whereas Flash, on the other hand, still hasn't yet been able to touch it yet.
Exactly. Before we head into the 1 versus 1, I want to point this out, probably a lot of people tuning in for this match. Guys, if you are watching right now, at the weekend, we start with the GSTL, a preseason tournament, 8 teams participating, and everything will be free in HD. No pass, nothing needed. It is Saturday,
so
Sunday,
tell your friends,
Monday.
like people who've never watched StarCraft before, ever, to watch this because they can watch it in high quality for free.
Exactly. Starting at the weekend, you can find information on GOMTV.net, but now focusing on our TVT.
Yep.
Flash versus Ryung.
Ryung, man, it's that Ryung face, the one you get to see just when you're on a lucky day. He's one of the best players in the world. Definitely not given enough credit for it, I feel. This guy is a powerhouse, and he's up against the StarCraft 1 powerhouse Flash. Game 1's on Belcher Vestige. The map is loaded. The only question I have now is, Kaldor, are you ready?
I am definitely ready. I'm so ready for this game. Let's get this party started, guys. We have the last game of the day here at the GSL Code 8. It's Flash versus Ryung. Game number 1 on Belcher Vestige.
Now to the bottom right of the map. In yellow, the KT Rolster player. Some people call him God, but his ID is
KT Flash.
I tell you guys to follow him on Twitter, check him out, but you know, the sad, confusing, tragic reality is he still has not made a Twitter yet.
Yeah. It's a little bit weird. His opponent, though, starts to the top left. We have it in red. He's starting for Axiom. It is
Axiom Ryung.
Yep, being kind of the soul and the spirit of Slayers, now on Axiom. His Twitter is AxRyung. You can follow him there, tweet at him for this match. I'm sure he'd love to see your support after the matches are over. You can follow the two of us on Twitter at ProxyWolf and at Kaldor. Retweet my tweet that has the link to this match so people can get out there watching it. People don't know this match is going on. Terran versus Terran, a matchup that we have seen already earlier today, and one of the rarer matchups in the GSL right now in Wings of Liberty.
Yeah. I'm really excited for this game. What are we going to see here? We have both of those players starting with barracks, no command center first. Will we see the gas? Are they just going to go 1 barracks into expand? Flash really wants to make this happen. He wants to go into Codas so desperately. He feels like he belongs there, and a lot of people will agree with him. In the first round, he had to defeat Solar, a Zerg player that he was able to beat with a 2-0. And on the other hand, we have Ryung, a player who has done really, really well. He was in Code S, but then he lost to Lucira. He lost actually to Lucira twice. Lucira was the one player who smacked him down. That's why Ryung is currently facing Flash in the second round of Code A.
Yeah, that's what's going on here. And so far, both players taking gas. So no risky expands, no CC first, no 1 Rax expands. People are testing the waters right now, both of them. Ryung tries to get a scout off, Flash shuts him down, and the same is true, of course, of the KT Rolster player. KT Rolster player, though, will see the gas, but not the tech lab, so he doesn't know it's going to be a Reaper opening.
Yeah, he has no clue about this. And the comparison to the last time that they faced each other, it was a best of 1, and it was back then in the up and downs, 1 whirlwind. This time we have a best of 3, and this is kind of the type of game that you really want to play as Flash, because this time you can prepare for your opponent. This is very different from the first time that they faced each other. You're playing in the up and downs, you have a lot of opponents, you need to kind of prepare for everyone a little bit, but you don't know who to focus on. So this is for Flash a lot better of a position, him being a Casper player, a player who is used to this really very strong preparation style.
When Flash takes his gas and puts it into a reactor, this is going to be initially to get Marines out so he can hold his expansion. He's doing a reactor Marine expand with a Hellion follow-up. He's going to bracketate out the Hellions after that factory is done. Ryung, on the other hand, with his Reaper expand, has the ability to get really good scouting information with that Reaper. He's going to know what Flash is up to. And neither player here is really ahead. It's just different openings, and they're going towards the same composition. Then Ryung in the main base adds 2 barracks.
Ryung is actually playing in his strongest matchup here. This is really important to note. We have him with a 63% win ratio against Terran with 111 games played. This best matchup by far. The last match that he played against Terran, he lost. He lost with a 2-0 to Marine King, but just in general, if you look at his statistics and at his recent map history, he's a strong mirror match player. Flash, of course, not a pushover. This guy is looking at a 67% win record against Terran. He's really strong, doing well in Pro League, doing well in Heart of the Swarm as well in the Grandmaster. So he's kind of preparing for both right now.
Now Ryung just getting that Reaper away with 2 hit points left, gets that kill. You're right, Flash is kind of an all-around preparation player, sure, playing a ton of Heart of the Swarm, as well as being able to play Wings of Liberty at the highest level and try to transition out into the Heart of the Swarm in Code S.
One of the recent players that Flash played in Pro League was Fantasy, and he was able to take Fantasy down, and Fantasy played so strong against Zinio. We just saw the match yesterday, so both of these guys are just so strong, especially in this matchup.
Look at this pressure from Flash. He forces the cancel on the bunker.
He's going to force a lot more.
And Ryung, even though he powered up a lot of barracks in his main, his add-ons took so long to build that he doesn't have any units to defend his command center. He has to lift and go into the main base. Flash takes a significant lead here.
He definitely does. This is horrible for Ryung. Ryung is losing so much mining time now. He lost SCVs too, and he's completely contained here with a nice split, and this is what we see from Flash. He can't move down the ramp.
And he doesn't have tech. He doesn't have a factory even done, so he's never going to have medevacs to get down this ramp. So he's going to have to burst out with Stim, which will work, but it's not going to be the most efficient trade for him.
And the problem is that Flash is already so far ahead in economy. This works so well for the KT All-Star player. This is great for Flash.
And even more Hellions coming in to increase his splash damage with the bottom of the ramp here. Totally controlled by him. Even has vision now with the Viking, which he puts on hold position here. And even with Stim, Ryung is reluctant to break down. He's losing more and more time, and Flash sets up a bunker. We don't see this too often in TVT, but when these builders collide, Flash has a great advantage here.
Run is suddenly on the clock. He needs to do something before this bunker is up, or it's going to be even more difficult for him to break through.
He's picking off units.
To poke, but he's losing one of those Marauders if he isn't careful.
Yeah, he's trying to pick off the Hellions, but a Hellion for a Marauder is never a good trade.
You know, Wolf, we have Cloak and Banshees coming up now.
He stims and runs down, but the Hellions are ready.
The Hellions are ready, and they're doing a lot of damage here. The bunker is about to be done. He can't kill the SCV, but there are no Marines left. And just barely Ryung is able to break through. But look at the supply. Look at the income for Flash. Look at the Banshee follow-up.
Yeah, the Banshee follow-up that you mentioned is so important because this is the tech that Ryung is not prepared for. Right now, he's got a few weakened Marines, which do have Stim, but not combat shields. So when this Banshee gets here, it's going to be very difficult to deal with Cloak, especially because he doesn't have any Vikings. He just drops his mules now. Using that energy that we would want to have for Cloak, this could be disastrous for Ryung, especially if he hits that next mule right before the Banshee gets there.
Yeah, if he doesn't have the energy for a scan, he is going to lose so much of his economy. This build in general, this worked out so well for Flash and Ryung. What can he do now? Here comes the Banshee.
He just dropped the mule right as the Banshee comes in.
Oh my god.
He's got one more scan. One more scan available in his main base.
He tries to get the turret up.
He cannot miss it.
Here comes the Stim. He's losing too much already. Here comes the scan, but no, the Banshee gets away. This is horrible for him.
This is horrible, but the turret will be up. The problem is the Banshee's presence here is just going to continue to be annoying. Even with the turret up, he can start picking off other units. He can even pick off the hit points on these depots. Another Stim goes down here, but he has enough energy to keep the Cloak on, and Ryung is in trouble.
Yeah, Ryung is definitely in trouble. It's not only that he lost so much at the beginning, especially mining time, but now he's in a position where he loses SCVs,
Second
where he loses
Banshee is
Marines.
Here. Yeah, man, you're right. He's losing not only the SCVs, but the Marines. That's really important.
But this is really good for him. Now
This
suddenly
Stim.
finally finds an opening, and this is brilliant.
Yeah, Stim is exactly what is allowing him to do this. He needs to pull those SCVs back, I feel, now, and just use the Banshee for defense. Ryung is getting a lot here.
Ryung is getting more than only a lot. He killed 23 workers. This is awesome. This is such a great game. This is exactly what we hoped for after the history that those two had on Whirlwind. This is a back and forth game with Ryung suddenly taking a huge lead in Harvesters. Actually, that's not even true. 4 Harvesters ahead. This is how much Flash had in the beginning here.
Yeah. You know, Flash, with his command center being on the low ground the whole time, constantly producing SCVs, built up a lead, but Ryung has evened things out with that attack.
Exactly.
He lost a lot of army, though, and a lot of his units are on low hit points as well, so Flash still in a decent position here. He needs to know about Ryung's third that he's taken pretty greedily right now. He's not making it normally as you see it on the natural. He's making it all the way at the third base, which is very exposed.
What we see currently is for Flash a double tank production, and Ryung is still trying to find openings with this bio here. He's moving down, but those Banshees, a constant map presence and a constant threat to the economy of the Axiom player.
Yep.
Once more trying to get those units at gas, but here we go.
Siege mode is not
ready.
Exactly, but these units are so low on hit points, he can use the SCVs for a buffer, and the AoE damage of the Hellions is really helping out here. Ryung is dropping its supply like crazy. He will not get these siege tanks, and the Banshee looks like it is finally taken out. But still, this is a worse and worse situation for Ryung as time goes on.
You know, at first he really tried to equalize the score in the situation here, trying to make this attack run, and he killed so many Harvesters. The problem was that Flash was so far ahead at this point that it mattered, but it left Flash still with an advantage over his opponent.
Yeah.
And now he even pulls his SCVs and goes for the attack.
Certainly,
here.
and Flash killed not only some SCVs, but he killed a lot of units, and that helps this attack, though. Units are dead, and this weakens the push, or rather, weakens the defense for Ryung.
And he goes on. He goes on like this. He's forced to just use scan again, which allows him not to draw to mule. He can't really mine as much as he wants to, and the Banshee is even alive. He doesn't even kill it.
Cuts off medevac production here. He's going to force that starport to lift, and if he controls that ramp, that means Ryung can't get units down. Oh, this is looking so bad for Ryung right now. He's down third to supply. His command center's taking some serious hits. He has to repair.
The third base in the top right for Ryung, that is something that Flash doesn't know about just yet. But the natural on its own is already under so much pressure that it's very unlikely. Maybe with a drop here. Can he drop a double siege tanks? Can he take them down?
He's going to try. Here we go. Banshees.
Nice effort.
Yeah, Banshee's still doing some extra damage, but he just doesn't have enough for the siege tanks. It's just not a good enough trade, and now the command center can just be attacked again.
The defense is gone. The Hellions on their way into the mineral line. SCVs are exposed, and
GG.
Flash with a 1-0 lead in the best of 3. Great game for him on a kill on flats.
That was a really exciting game. Ryung taking little advantages like Stim and trying to make them work. But he killed SCVs only when Flash already had an SCV lead, whereas when Flash attacked with his Banshee, he killed SCVs and army, weakening Ryung's already slightly weaker composition with no siege tanks to defend and only low hit point Marines against the Banshee, for example, missing that scan. Flash had way too much.
Yeah. He played so well in this game. The contain at the beginning was already awesome, and then later on the Banshee transition was just exactly what he needed. Then leading up into the siege tank push that he pushed out, that was beautiful. And Ryung, he really fought hard, but in the end it was Flash who prevails. Getting his coffee here.
Yeah. Flash is ready to go. He said so in the lobby. Ryung has responded in similar fashion. The Korean observer is ready. The countdown has started. The next map is Akalon Flats. Can Flash close this out? He won't be in Code S yet, but he'll be one step closer.
Flash actually has taste. That coffee was from the same cafe where we used to get our break coffees.
Yes.
I like this. I approve.
Yeah. That's a great choice.
Guys, TBT Game 2 is on. Flash versus Ryung at the GSL Code A. We are in the second round. And currently the KT All-Star player is in the lead with the 1-0. Can he take it 2-0, or will the Axiom player come back into the series? Gonna find out right now.